Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Next is post credits on Bat.
Hello, and thank you for sticking around post credits. I'm Ben Staunton, and this is a podcast that's powered by Brunswick area television. And sitting here with me under the marquee is two people, but I'm first going to go ahead and introduce my deuteragonist in crime, Corinne Kirk.
Hello, and could you remind me what that means again?
Sure. A deuteragonist is the second important characters in a movie or a play. It's a Greek term, and they're right under the protagonist. And since, our guest today is our protagonist, you and I have to take the dual role of being deuteragonists. So that's what we are.
Okay, got it.
So before we get started, Corinne, why don't you tell us a little bit about why we're doing this show and what it's about?
Yeah, so this show, I really wanted to highlight the film community around us locally in Northeast Ohio. And I was inspired by, for the America's 250th anniversary, there's so many different initiatives to celebrate. And one of Ohio's initiatives is the Ohio Goes to the Movies. And I was trying to think of, how can we participate? And then I like to talk to people and learn about things, and I thought it would be a really fun thing to do is to talk to other people within the industry near us. I think it would be a really fun thing to do, and now we're doing it. So today we're talking to Mike Karban. So he is a personal trainer as well as an actor, and you do stunts as well.
Correct, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you're a fan of our channel, you've probably seen him before. He's done some work with us previously.
Quite a bit. I think our first show we did together was like 14 years ago.
Yeah.
14 or 15 years ago. So that's crazy. Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Sure is. Sure does. Yeah, and you've been on, you've been on Golden Years. You've been on Community Focus. Mm-hmm. You've been on the Rec Channel quite a bit. You even made a special appearance in a promo for the Road Levy.
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Yeah, you want to show us what you did in that? There you go.
That was my my cameo.
There you go. There you go. And you played it out well, so that's good.
Thank you.
If you could give us a synopsis of your career in film, or what do you like to do? What do you do the most?
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy because you mentioned the personal training aspect. So that's kind of what kicked off the acting love that I have. So early in my career when I was building my business and things, and, I had a couple gyms, and including one that was for seniors and people with disabilities that was located in the Cleveland Clinic. So, that's kind of a niche demographic. So I was always looking for ways to kind of get the name out there and kind of get the opportunity out to seniors in the area. And, in the area, I mean, anywhere in Northeast Ohio. So I reached out to some of the studios, Channel 3, Channel 8, Channel 5 and things. And I was just saying, hey, is there any opportunities for me to, either come on the show or do something to kind of talk about the gym? So Channel 3 actually replied back and they said, oh, yes, we have this great show that's specifically for seniors. You're more than welcome to come on and we can do a fitness skit in, the next 20 shows or whatever. So before I knew it, that turned into 9 years. From that, and just from being in the studio, very similar to this, I really kind of fell in love with just the, being in front of the camera, putting a message out there and things like that. After that, I started trying my hand at auditions for different commercials and things, which I landed a couple pretty easily. So that kind of just continued to light the fire. And then that got into the, whole, auditioning for movies and then studying scripts. And then, once you get on those big film sets, it's really a unique place because, you have so many working wheels to create the end product that you see. And it's just fascinating. And then just as much as I love being in the gym and I love being around weights and exercise equipment because it's just kind of who I am, I feel the same way about film. Once you kind of get into that and then the people you meet, along the way, and you develop really close friendships and things with the individuals you work with, it's really nice. So it's become a fantastic hobby and thing that I just absolutely love.
the show that you were on was what Golden Opportunities, and Get Up and Go is the premise of what you were doing with the workout and fitness area.
Correct,
there.
yeah.
And then I saw some of those videos are still available on YouTube.
Yep.
And they're through your website as well.
Sure, yeah.
The thing is when you get the host out there doing their thing, and it seems like there was a couple of different hosts for that show.
Yeah.
You really get them moving and everything. And you're asking them, how's it going over there?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun. It's
Right.
good to watch. It's a short watch. And it's something that I think people at home could really enjoy, just like the stuff that's going on the Rec channel as well.
Sure.
You can get up, get moving, no matter your age and everything else. So what got you involved with working with senior citizens in that realm over people who were at a more physical ability, I guess?
Yeah, so primarily the gym for seniors, people with disabilities that I owned, and I kind of fell in love with that because they're really there's not as many classes, or at least at the time there wasn't, because back when I had this and I was starting to get out the shows out there and things, even silver sneakers really wasn't a thing yet, so we've come a long way, I'd say, in the last 10 to 20 years as far as senior fitness is concerned, and just putting it out there that it's a beneficial thing, it's going to help you and so on. So that, and just if you've never worked out before, particularly seniors, there's a lot of tips and things that need to be explained. And there's a lot of things that they can do, but maybe we just need to critique it a little bit. Maybe we need to make it a little safer, stability situations and things. Maybe we need to reduce the weight a little bit, So instead of using dumbbells, you're talking about maybe using 1 to 2 pounds or soup cans or milk jugs. And that's the resistance. So, just kind of trying to spread the word is what kind of got me into that. And then, again, I really enjoy being able to help people and to see somebody say, you know what, I used to get winded chasing my grandkid around, and now I pick them up and I can play with them like I never did before. And it's all because I've been, watching your videos for the last couple months.
Very nice.
Could you tell us about your recent acting projects?
Yeah. So recently I did a film called The Deadly Type, which will be on a couple streaming services in the next month or two. That starred Omar Gooding, and it starred a couple other named actors, and it really turned out to be a great movie. It's kind of a whodunit. You're kind of throughout the film trying to figure out, who committed this crime. I play a detective. Omar Gooding plays a detective, and we're kind of part of the process of determining who committed the crime. So that was a lot of fun. And then there was a few commercials, Destination Cleveland, and a couple things like that I've worked on relatively recently. Like I was telling you earlier, I just kind of changed agents recently. So I've been getting flooded with auditions and things to send in. So that's been a lot of fun. And since we're talking about film, to be honest with you, from the actor standpoint, you may audition for, 20 different parts in a month. You may get 1 or 2. There's a large group that you're going against, and that's fine. And maybe you're too tall, you're too short, you're too thin, you're too wide. A lot of different reasons they might not choose you. So part of the fun, honestly, becomes just the audition aspect. You nowadays with the internet and the cell phone, you're doing a lot of self-taped auditions and things like this. So you get really creative, you get really fun. You kind of dress for the part, right? And you want to do everything that you can to kind of portray what you think the client might be looking for. So I really enjoy it. I have a lot of fun with it, and I dress the part, and you memorize the lines, and it's just some sides, so it's a very short portion of the script. But you kind of get an idea in your head of, even if you don't get the part, like you have some insider information as far as to what that commercial or that show or that movie may be like. So that's a lot of fun.
So what's your favorite kind of role to step into? I see, I went to your IMDb, and you told me, right before we started here, that this is not at all of it. Of course, it's 3 pages front and back, but there's plenty more that's not on here.
Sure.
Why don't you give us some insight on what you feel is a good part for you and what you like?
Oh man, that's a really good question. So, early in my career, I started out doing the TV stuff, and that was great, but I would take anything that I could get. So I would do background. I would even do a production assistant. I would help out. Whatever I could do just to kind of get around it, I would do. Now, doing this for the last 15 years or so, I a little more, choosy in the things I select. But I've done a lot of things where I was the enforcer or the police officer or, bouncer or something like that.
Security guard comes up a lot on
exactly.
this list.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Stuff like that. But, honestly, I like to try a lot of different things. And until recently, I had never, a couple years ago, I had never actually played a villain where I was the bad guy, that was really fun, just kind of tapping into that, just crazy kind of, wanting an altercation situation. It kind of took the security thing to a next level. And playing the bad guy was really fun. And I hope I get to do that more because that was a good time.
So if there's anybody out there looking for a bad guy, Mike's the one. Give him a call.
Yeah, I know you're telling me, I think in that role that you were alluding to, the bad guy, you do stunts and you had to do stunt coordination and be involved in a fight sequence. Can you explain how that worked?
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. It's the easiest way I think to explain it is it's you're doing ballet with another individual, so you start really slow and you figure out the steps of where you want to go. And you're coordinating, everything from the swings, and you want the person to turn just as you're swinging. Based on where the camera angle is going to be, it's going to look like a real hit and their reaction and things. So you're trying to time all that up slow. And then as you go, getting closer and closer and closer to the day, you speed it up and you speed it up and you speed it up. You make it look realistic. Maybe you make a couple changes. There's a lot that goes into it, but if it's done right, it really comes out well. I did some fight sequences on a music video or two also. The fight choreography, it takes a little time, but it's so worth it because it comes out really nice in the end.
It seems like there's a wide array of things that you're doing out there. And would you say, what do you think the first step is for somebody who may be sitting there listening now? I'm sure they're hearing this in Hollywood and all over the world because this is going out on the internet. But what would you tell somebody if they're like, I'm probably not good enough to be an actor, I can't do that? What would you say?
I would say they're wrong, because anybody can do it. You can look at the TV now. You can turn it on, flip through the channels, and then you can see a wide variety of individuals, every height, every age, every background, and there's always a role. If there's a person like that in the real life, then there's a place for that in film because it's simulating real life. So certainly put yourself out there. So if I had to give somebody new advice, I'd say put yourself out there. Don't be afraid of rejection because that's the biggest thing you're going to face in this business. You get rejected all the time. Like I said, if I do 20 auditions in a month, I'm lucky if I get one or two. But that's okay because, again, they're looking for different types of people, and it happens. Also, get on film. Get on film however you can. Brunswick area television, that's a great place to start. Perhaps a background role. Just get on the set and see how the mechanics of a big production works. Like I mentioned earlier, production assistant. Films are always, and television shows and commercials are always looking for production assistants. Now, you may be, doing craft services. You may be getting coffees. You may be, rounding up some background extras. But you will see and you will get familiar with how everything works. So get yourself out there and try it. And, there's a lot of local individuals too, indie films. You can very, very easily get in an indie film, and that's going to help teach you some things like script memorization. It's going to teach you some things like line delivery, and all those things you don't necessarily think about until you actually get to that point. So if it interests you, take a shot, have some fun, and I think you'll really enjoy it.
Good advice.
Yeah, on top of the fight choreography, I've had a chance to do some driving. Some stunt driving as well, which is really fun. Like we did Little Evil with Sally Field and Adam Scott. Adam Scott was the director of that one. And I actually got to drive Sally Field around Cleveland in a 1957 Ford Galaxy. Nice. Super, super fun. And, at one point we're on a city street and I just, the director's like, okay, I want you to go 0 to 50. And then we're going to have a camera right here and you got to stop 10 feet before this camera. I'm like, oh, okay, I got Sally Field in the back. I'm driving somebody else's collector car, and I'm going to race down the street, and I got to stop right on the dot,
Had you done anything like that before?
That was my first one on that level, yeah. So I was like, here we go, guys. Let's see how this works.
And what's damage to this car and this camera going to cost?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
I'm like, oh, I don't know. Yeah,
stop.
right. But yeah, no, so that's a lot of fun. But yeah.
Yeah, do you have any other standout moments from your time on set?
Yeah, like I just mentioned, the stunt driving, that was a lot of fun. And I've gotten to do it a lot now. So I manhunt. I drove some military SUVs all around PA in the woods and the mountains and things. We were chasing a criminal. I've gotten to drive a couple race cars, like actual like Lamborghini and things like those. Those are really fun. Those were for a commercial, and it was on a closed track. But still, I mean, I got to go 120 miles per hour or so on a closed track in a $100,000 car, so that was really nice. And then really, honestly, like the opportunity to like meet so many really cool people. The number of, I'd say, famous celebrities, that I've had the opportunity to actually work with and sit and talk just like this, is more than I ever thought. I actually have stories about so many people I see on TV that I could sit and I could tell people, and my grandkids and my family members, and this person was really nice. We did this, we did that. It's really a unique experience. And to answer your question though, unique situations, probably driving Sally Field would have to be the tops, because she was just so sweet. She was in the back seat, like holding on, like for dear life. But yeah, no, that was really cool.
When you said you've talked to celebrities just like this, I'm going to take that as you're calling us celebrities.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Mike.
Hey,
I do appreciate it.
I would
met
agree.
Sally Field, and now, you're talking to us and celebrities like
Sure.
this.
Yes, I agree with that.
I'm going to take that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take that.
absolutely.
So I also wanted to talk about your involvement in community theater.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that should be overlooked, because people talk about the movie aspect of you and your television and everything else. But, tell us a little bit about how you feel about community theater. I know you were in it because, Jeff, who was the former manager of this department, and Tom, who's the manager, and I went to see you one time. Mm-hmm. And just tell us a little bit about that experience and how that could or could not elevate you.
Absolutely. So that is a wonderful time, and I highly recommend anybody thinking about getting into acting to do that. It is a different beast in a lot of situations, but I personally love it. You get instant feedback. The main difference, though, is the margin for error is zero. So that's why there is so much rehearsal, so much, you got the tech week and everything leading up to it. So in that way, the lights and the music and everything that they do matches up with what you're doing on the stage. But that is a fantastic thing that I would highly recommend for anybody. I think the one you're talking about was City of Angels at the Beck Theater in Lakewood.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was really good. I played Big Six and a security officer. So I was like a dual part. And I mean, that's fun stuff. The set changes, every actor, it didn't matter if you were a contracted actor or a lead role or whatever. Everybody's helping to push beds off the stage. We're moving tables. We're bringing entire setups on, and then we got to get off before, we turn black, and there you go. Lights come on, you got to move. That is a lot of fun, and it is super rewarding. And, you talk about the people that I just that production, that show, I still talk to all of them. Like, you develop such a friendship. I think that show went for 6 weeks or so, and it was like 3 or 4 days a week. And man, we had so much fun. It was just, it was just a great show. And, you have those hiccups and you have those little things that happen. And for example, great story real quick about that production specifically. So it was opening weekend, and we're all nervous. We've been rehearsing this for weeks now. We're trying to get going, and we feel we have it set. Well, 15 minutes before curtain, the door on the women's changing room, makeup room, locks, and they can't get it open. So there's 5 of the cast in there doing makeup, changing. Doors broke, trying to key, they're trying to, wiggle the handle, they're, pulling on, nothing's working. We're like, we have 7 minutes and we have to be on stage, and half the cast is in the dressing room. And some of them are freaking out too. They're like, "Oh, we're stuck." Anyways, there's a video of this online somewhere. So I was like, "All right, guys, I'm gonna have to do this." So I grabbed the handle, I threw a shoulder into that door, popped the whole door right off the thing, saved everybody. The dressing room erupts and cheers, and everybody's so excited, and there's applause, and it was a nerve-wracking situation, but it was amazing at the same time, because it was like that. And then that cheer, and we're like, you know what? The rest of the day and the rest of the weekend of these performances were good. We just got through this, and everything worked out. So everybody was happy.
Yeah. Do you like pull from that memory when you're doing your own stunts?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Like, hey, you know what? Nothing can stop me. I'm fine.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's on the horizon for Mike Karban?
Well, hopefully some of the stuff I've done I've had quite a few national and commercials and films and things, but, a lot of the stuff tends to be local commercials, local things. So the reason I switched the agent was because I'm hoping to get more national auditions and more national work, which so far it's worked out. Like I said, though, I've done 7 or 8 auditions just in the last month of being with them, and no callbacks yet, but kind of still waiting on that. So we'll see. But just continuing to hone my craft, and like I said, I want to try and play as many different characters as I can. So the better I can get, and the better I can deliver the lines, and the better I can portray more types of people, the more doors will open for me. And so really just focusing on my craft, and keep plugging away. Just like I told everybody at home, if you want to try it, it's going to take time, but just keep plugging away, and keep getting better at your craft. Keep, understanding more, keep learning more tips. And before you know it, you're going to be sitting here with these celebrities.
Nice touch.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about the community in Northeast Ohio, specifically in the film industry?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So the community in Northeast Ohio, it's still to this, it's grown a lot over the years, but still to this point, it is a super small, close-knit community. Everybody kind of knows everybody. You have the little circles, and they intertwine, they mix, but everybody knows everybody. And I tell you what, Cleveland is, Northeast Ohio in general is one of the most talented areas I have seen. And I've done work in Chicago, I've done work in New York, West Virginia. I've been around quite a bit doing shows and things, and I tell you what, Cleveland's talent is just as good as anywhere. Matter of fact, I feel like it's getting better with you were mentioning the film incentives and things, right, for the state of Ohio. So the more work that comes, the more opportunity for more people to participate and to kind of get into it and things like that. And the talent is just so amazing, and they're supportive. The entire community. You will not go to a audition, or you will not go to an indie film if you get a part or something and have anybody think anything of you or judge you or anything. That's not what the Cleveland film industry is like here. That I can testify 1,000%. You will be supported. You will be welcomed. And, it's just really such a cool thing to see everybody come together and really put in that work, and then see the awesome stuff that comes from it, And that's not just the actors. That's that's the grip guys. That's the lighting. That's the, sound guys. That's everybody. You see the same people.
And the after.
Yeah.
It's like the ultimate group project.
Yeah.
Really.
Yes. That's a great way to explain it. Yeah.
Is there anything you want to leave people at home with, or maybe something we didn't touch upon before we head out?
This is what I want everybody at home to do. The next time you go to a movie, or you're watching a movie at home, I want you to pay attention to the small things. Some people do this. I see a lot of my friends doing it. But pay attention to the small things, and try to pick out little things, like maybe, in one scene you see a cup over here, and in the next scene that's immediately after, you see the cup over here. Well, somebody in props didn't place that after the last scene. Pay attention to the small things. Not only that, but pay attention to the people in the background. What are they doing? Because a lot of times you're watching a film and you're focused on what the main characters, the storyline, all those kind of things. But, what you don't subconsciously realize is everybody in the background is also making that real life, right? They're making that situation more like what's you're actually going to experience if you were in that situation. So pay attention to them, see what they're doing, kind of see where they're going. Look at the little things like the lighting. Look at,
the atmospheric fog, like the way the light. Someone's over there with a fog machine in the background that you don't see.
Exactly. So look at those little things, and that kind of will almost give you a sense of how much work and how much teamwork and how much, preparation, goes into each film and the movie you're watching. So try that, and I think you'll have a new appreciation for film.
Takes a lot of work.
It does.
There's a lot of moving parts, would you say?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. That's why I always like to read the credits after the movie.
Yes, I agree. I like to sit there and I like to see who works. And a lot of times I actually see names and things I know. And, hey, on occasion, it's my own. So that's always fun too.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here post-credits.
That's right.
It says they just watched them. So now we can talk about all the stuff that happens before the credits and during the credits.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, guys. And, hopefully I can come back and see you again. But good luck with everything, and I appreciate it.
Good luck to you, too.
Thank you.
Flux capacitor. Fluxing. Look, it's Mike Karban. Flexing. That's my phone. Would you answer it on speaker while I'm driving? Oh, sure. It's Paul. What's going on, Paul?
Hey, as you know, we have a road levy out there on the ballot, November 7th, 2023. I want to get some more information out about that.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Really? What are you talking about? Everybody needs roads. Crazy communications department. Everybody needs roads.